It's weird that you were born in the 90s. I don't like that.
96 too, late.
Oh, whoa!
Yeah.
See, that's weird.
Yeah.
So weird. I'm glad that I was born in the 80s. I still consider myself a 90s baby because I grew up in the 90s.
I was gonna say you're more a 90s kid than I am. Like I grew up in the 2000s.
I will say that there's like a big split in the industry that I'm noticing before we get into like today's real topic. I'm working with a lot younger and younger and younger. More and more, I feel like the creative strategists that are coming up in the industry are all like 22 to about 26.
Yeah, no, it seems like there's a bunch of young guns.
Yeah, which is great. I'm like, come on in, man. Lots going on in here.
I just helped one of my clients hire an in-house creative strategist, and yeah, every applicant I feel like was like 19. And I was like, this is what you guys are doing now? I love it.
Yeah, people enjoy the content. Like creating ads is just fun. It just is. Like this industry is actually fun. I know that we complain about stuff sometimes, but it's actually really fun just to be over here in D2C because it's fast paced. I find it fascinating though when we get into conversations with these people and like you could tell a digital native or the difference between somebody who lives it, breathes it, and somebody who had to learn it like me.
Yeah,
it's just different.
Can I give one piece of advice to the young guns out there?
Yes, please do.
Please stop pretending you have a lot of experience. Like
solid advice.
Your advantage early in your career is that you grew up like super native to all the platforms and content we care about. You're going to work harder. You have more free time. You have less responsibilities. Those are all your advantages. Like that's what you should be playing into. Yes. I've talked to a few of y'all that are like, I'm a veteran. And it's like,
I'm so good at
like, you've spent $100,000 on ads that you wrote. Like by the way, in the last year, like, it's okay to be new to this. It's okay to be, have less experience than people older than you, obviously. But like, you need to do a better job, like promoting your strengths. Don't cosplay as like a veteran creative strategist because you're not.
That would make such a good episode. We need to do one full episode on just what you need to know before you come into this industry. Yeah, because one of the things that I get pushed back on a lot is like, Sarah, how do you know any of the stuff that you teach is real? And I'm like, I don't know. I've got 17 years of experience doing this.
Yeah, because I've done it over and over and over again.
Yes, and it's funny because some of the younger generation tends to not take that as like valid, which I find really fascinating. I'm like,
yeah, well, and what's hard, there are people in our industry that talk out of their ass a little bit.
Yeah.
So I understand why some people assume things we say on a podcast like are not legit. But like we had one comment on the last episode that was like, how do you know this works for a bunch of different brands? And it's like, because I've tested it on 16 brands and I'm 16-0 on it. Like
we're doing okay.
It's undefeated. I'm not making this up. So
God,
that's why.
All right, I'm gonna put a pin in that, and we'll come back and we'll do a full episode of just like career advice. If you're coming into creative strategy, here's what you need to know. Today's episode though is not about creative strategy. Today's episode, you actually asked me to go research something a couple weeks ago.
Oh, I'm so excited! You did it?
Yes, I went and did it because I was like, okay, I have to know now. Unfortunately, open up that friggin' like hole in the brain, and now I'm like, I have to fill it with something.
Let's talk about Q-tips.
Q-tips. We're gonna talk about Q-tips because why not? What else are we doing on a Friday? All right,
guys,
so
I texted Sarah probably a month ago, and I think I just said Q-tips. Figure out what happened. Why do they say you're not supposed to use them in your ears? There has to be a story there.
There is a story, and it is a fascinating one. So are you ready for this Q-tip montage?
Yes.
It's going to be so interesting. Okay. 1923, we have a Polish immigrant who was watching his wife give their newborn daughter, Betty, a bath. His wife at the time, this was like way early on when hygiene was not really a thing yet. People were just starting to learn about soap. And so his wife was trying to make sure that their newborn baby was clean everywhere. She would take like strips of cotton and wrap it around the end of toothpicks.
Okay.
And then she would use that to clean like belly buttons, in behind the ear, like around the nose, those types of things. First, I want to pause here already. Can you imagine taking a toothpick and like putting it around? Like I'm instantly like, that's so dangerous.
Yeah.
Don't put toothpicks around babies. Okay. Yeah. Like just don't use it that way. This is what she had to do to keep babies clean. Because this guy noticed that, like, obviously one wrong move and you stabbed her baby. He spent like months trying to solve this. He was using all kinds of things to try and duplicate what his wife had created just in a safer way. He was using wood, like tiny like splinters of wood to try and replicate it. He was using different pieces of cloth instead of cotton, but it kept detaching. He was trying to figure out how to sterilize it. I mean, he spent a long time trying to like invent this. He finally landed on this Q-tip kind of model, which is basically just like a tiny piece of basically wood that he would glue pieces of fabric on the end of it. The original name for the Q-tip was Baby Gaze, after Betty, who apparently laughed every time that they tickled her with one. Very sweet product. That was the original Q-tip. Now, we've got 1923 America. Industrialization is like pulling people off of farms and into offices. Before this, a large portion of your time was spent on a farm. So if you were sweaty, stinky, nasty, nobody's going to care. Like nobody's coming to your house today without being invited. Now, though, we start seeing people getting into offices for job interviews, neighbors, like social life, and it had kind of an economic weight. So we've got this new kind of advertising that emerged from this. So this is the first time that we saw Listerine invented halitosis. I don't know if you knew that.
I did.
Halitosis is not.
Earmark that for an episode, by the way.
Say, halitosis was not a real thing until Listerine decided it was.
Yep.
So that's how Listerine was evolving. Deodorant became a big player in the market. One message underneath all of this was just that like your body is doing something wrong and you don't know that it's doing it yet. Ads started featuring adults in the early 1920s. We started with this kind of well-groomed man that was removing water from his ear after a swim. They also showed a woman who was using it for makeup products. And then the box itself started listing adult ear care as the primary use. Now, this wasn't a lie to begin with, because they actually wanted you to use it to clean out your ears. They had just started gesturing at like ear canal being a dirty anxiety, similar to how your mouth is unclean, like your armpits aren't clean, blah, blah, blah. Earwax is something that I think people just started noticing as something they wanted to solve. Now, the interesting part about this is obviously like the ear is not a passive organ, right? If you stick something in it, it's gonna hurt. If you go too far in here. Your vagus nerve actually also runs through the ear canal. That particular nerve, the vagus nerve, activates all kinds of like good feel chemicals in it. People liked cleaning their ears, not only because like they thought it was cleaner, but because it felt good while you did it. And that kind of fused it in the brain, and then they just passed it down to their kids. And this is how we all started cleaning our ears.
Okay. I love the origin story so much because I think there's nothing better to me in like product and brand land when you can solve a real problem. Like this was a real issue that this one mom was having. They invented a solution for it. It's like a real problem solution thing. But then you can push propaganda on top of it to highlight like, hey, these things aren't as clean as you think. You should increase the quality of your hygiene. Like that is just the winning formula for like, hey, it's a thing that solves a problem and lends itself well to pushing propaganda that people weren't thinking about before.
Well, it's crazy that it went from just like we're cleaning like babies' bodies to now this needs to go inside a very sensitive part of your body, your ear, because it's dirty, it's nasty. Like they basically, and we talk about this a ton on this podcast, they villainized something that was natural, unfortunately. Earwax. Like they created a villain and then they sold you something to destroy the villains. Okay, so now we have to talk about like how did this become a bad thing? Because now Q-tips has like a warning on the label.
Yeah, so lawsuits obviously happened, right?
Okay, yeah. So
what's the incident where someone stabbed themselves in the brain with a Q-tip?
This is the scary part. It didn't happen. Doctors didn't start raising concerns until the 1950s. This came out in like 1922.
I mean, that's not surprising. They were still prescribing cigarettes and heroin in the 1950s. So
this is a long time, like a really long time to go with people cleaning their ears with this one. It shouldn't do it. So doctors start raising concerns in the 1950s. Do not insert swabs into your ear canal. Ears are self-cleaning. Earwax is protective. You're supposed to have it in.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a PSA for people listening to this, but like earwax is important.
Someone's going to tune into this episode and be like, what are they talking about? Guys, there's a lesson in here. Hang on.
Yeah. Earwax is important. Q-tip actually responds and just removes adult ear care from the box. They don't actually like do anything big about it. They don't like say, hey, we're sorry, our product has damaged eardrums. They add a small warning label that literally told you on the packaging not to do the thing that you were doing with it. In a 2025 study, 92% of users knew that doctors said not to do it, but they still use them.
Yeah, that's America
Clean
for you.
their ears. This is the most fascinating product evolution because it started as like a way to help somebody do something and care for somebody and their hygiene. And it ends with an entire nation of people who clean their ears now with something that you're not supposed to clean your ears with. So anyways, there you go.
All right.
Story.
Thank you for doing the research on how this came to be and then how it came not to be. I want to bring this into the present day because I find it super interesting that we buy a product that all of us use for something that it is not advertised to be used for.
Yep.
The only other things I can think of that fit that description are all these new peptides that are like not for human
okay,
use
yeah, that's good.
and like for research purposes only. I'm just so fascinated by categories where like the intended use
Yep.
cannot be talked about, cannot be advertised. What should people do with that?
Interesting. This is what they call, I think they call it desire lines in, I need to look up the exact term, in architecture, where you build a sidewalk, but you'll notice that over time, people will just use a different path straight through the grass because that's where they naturally want to walk. The brain doesn't even look at the sidewalk. It just says shortest line of path. Here we go. I personally, like, category psychology is so interesting to me. And it's something I'm actively training so many people on. Is like, you cannot just look at your ads, your landers, your emails, whatever it is, and just assume I'm doing a good job of converting people because I said XYZ. That's a part of it. The other half of it, though, is what are you selling? What are you selling? There are natural beliefs and fears that exist inside people that happen all the time. And this is something we have to kind of be aware of as marketers. One, so you don't trigger it negatively, right? You don't want to hurt people with your marketing. But two, so that you can understand what's changing. So the thing that stood out most to me in this entire story was that Q-tips would have never been a thing had people not started migrating from farms into offices. Had you not seen that progression, nobody would have needed
consumer trends.
Nobody would have even needed to clean anything. So there's tons of consumer trends that are currently happening right now. For one, we could start with probably one of the biggest ones that comes out. The dating scene has changed drastically over the course of the last 20 years. Most people are meeting people online now or in some sort of like dating app, whatever it is. The interesting part about that shift is it has drastically changed your access to how many people, right, you can meet, which means that you're constantly searching. It's gamification is what it is, which means for the most part, you will never find someone by design. The system.
So sad.
This is what I'm saying. This is why I'm like,
I do think if you didn't get married by 2020, like you're kind of cooked.
Like it doesn't mean that it's impossible. It just means that by design, your brain is going to constantly hunt because that's what the apps want you to do. They don't want you to find someone. They want you to hunt.
Yeah, they want
that
you to
also, it also comes into play when you think about commercialization of products. Amazon has allowed us to get products delivered to our door so we never have to leave. If you never have to leave, you isolate by design. You don't go out and shop around people or go to the market or meet people where you're like looking for products. There's so much of the world that has changed and been completely modified by businesses and by marketers that I'm now starting to look at this as like, what's coming up next? What has started to change, just like people moving from farms to offices? What else is moving that we need to be aware of?
Do you know what I immediately think of? Because I've talked to a couple like hygiene and self-care brands in the last couple of years that are struggling. And I wonder if like, all right, so we moved from farms to offices 100 years ago. We're now moving from offices back to our houses.
To homes, yes.
And like, I don't know. I know for a fact I would spend more on self-care if I went to an office every day. And worked with people in person.
Gosh,
like, I'm not wearing deodorant right now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's 11 a.m. on a Friday and I haven't gone anywhere. I showered this morning, but like I didn't do the whole self-care thing, you know?
That's such a good. I have several brands who are currently in the hygiene industry, and now I have to rethink everything I've ever told them. If you don't go out, what's the point of buying it?
Yeah.
Like if you don't need to smell nice often.
Because like when I go
what's
out,
the point?
it's like, and not that I have a deep self-care routine, but it's like deodorant, it's some beard stuff, it's
Yeah.
hair product. And it's like, cool, now I'll do all that and I'll go out to dinner or to a
Yep.
conference or
Yeah.
something. But I'm not doing any of that to walk 30 feet to come work in my
Like
home
back to
office
my
for the day.
house.
Yeah.
Yes. What I think hygiene is going to change a lot in the next 10 years because of this, because we went out and then now we're going back in. People don't necessarily need the products. So marketers are going to have to get more creative. And again, you have to attach it to some other enemy. The original enemy was social ostracization. Now, what is the enemy? If I just have to smell myself and I don't care how else,
I don't know.
what is the
I
enemy?
think the enemy is like, don't become a recluse.
I mean, maybe people are very lonely, but they're
Yeah.
not really. They're not looking to solve that.
I
Okay.
think
Yeah.
people are looking to solve loneliness. I don't think there's a great option for it yet. And to me,
Yeah.
like I think that's the biggest opportunity as it relates to like this macro change. I think people are craving in-person connection. I think that's why we've seen like run clubs take off and things like Soho House memberships do really well.
I mean, I should clarify. When I say we, I mean the marketers.
Yeah.
The marketers
Fair.
are not looking to solve loneliness
Fair.
very quickly. People are 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. This is fascinating. This is why I love these historical things, because it kind of shows me a little bit of like, maybe we should be paying attention.
Yeah, it's already sparked a
Where
couple
people are
things for
going.
me with clients of like, hey, we know how we want you to use this. We know how we think this should fit into your daily lives, but I'm going to think about it from your perspective now of like, how do you want to experience this product? How does it actually fit into your lives rather than like the ideal state that we're trying to sell you on? So think about that. Go write better copy, make better ads.
Desire lines, people. Go take a look at how people are naturally using it outside of what you intended it for. And then, might be interesting to follow that line and see where it goes.
Okay. Thanks so much for listening to Brain Driven Brands. Follow me and Sarah on Twitter, on LinkedIn, anywhere you get your podcasts. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Appreciate you guys listening. If you want to follow me, I'm at Sarah Levinger. Anywhere you consume content, he is at Nate Lagos. If you like this show and if you like this episode, go ahead and like, subscribe, share with a friend. Drop us a review when you have a minute. We would appreciate it. Otherwise, have a great week. We'll see you next time.